One steps, are they worth it? Let's find out together after this. Hey everybody, this is Josh with Hi-Fidelity Records. Thanks for joining me today. I thought I would tackle something that's kind of been a hotbed of discussion recently in the audiophile and the vinyl community, and that is one steps. Are the vinyl one steps, are they worth the price that, a lot of these companies are charging, whether it's craft or whether it's maybe the UHQRs from Analog Productions, just basically touching on these super premium $125, $150, single records, sometimes double LP 45s. And I think that's a loaded question. So let's dive into it a little bit. For one thing, I really love the packaging on these. Like you can see right here, I've got the Craft One Step of the Miles Davis Quintet Relaxin'. Beautiful packaging, comes in this kind of silk, kind of whatever box you want to call it, and also has the nice kind of like almost like you can hear that hard plastic coaster sort of situation. And I like it has the little if this one will come out, easier said than done, kind of cool, comes out, it has the jacket, always the nice paste on jackets, beautiful. This one's just a single. Have another one by them. Got the Isaac Hayes, the Hot Buttered Soul. I don't know if you can see these. Check that out. Kind of like a hard plastic coaster, kind of there in the middle of this silk box presentation they put them in. And they're numbered. Obviously, this is actually numbered 1801. You can see that on the back there. Very cool. And then, here's some others by Because Sound Matters. Here's the Green Day, the Dookie. This one was limited to 3,000 copies. What's funny about this one is, had this been just like a few years ago, 5 years ago, this one was limited to 3,000. This would have sold out in like a week. And, there's still copies available out there. I have a copy available on my Discogs shop right now, so go low numbered copies, so go snag that if you're into it. So I guess the community is kind of speaking on this. They're saying, hey, maybe these aren't worth it. Maybe I'm just not willing to spend $125, $150 for a premium version of an LP. It just depends. Is this just a record that you love? Do you have an original? Do you want to shoot them out? I think part of what is happening in the community right now is I think we hit a bubble with these audiophile records. And I think that mainly the people who are buying to flip, they're kind of out of the game because they've realized that buying to flip them is just not going to work anymore. The demand is not there. And I think the reason that is because a lot of the manufacturers, some have realized, hey man, there's a lot of demand for these, or there was. We're going to make 10 or 20,000 of these limited edition pressings, and we're going to make buku bucks. But the issue is once you do something like that, you're just kind of like manufacturing a collectible, and that's kind of the other side of this that people aren't seeing. There's some people who are buying for sound. There's some people who are buying for collectability, and I'll say there's some people who meet in the middle on both. They want the collectability, and they're looking for the best sound, the best version. But I think that the collectible nature of it has kind of died down, because when you're making 20,000 of something, that may not sound like a lot, but the people that are willing to spend, what was this, 125 for this Green Day? It's very few people that are willing to spend that. Most people are going to be happy with the $25 or $30 Kevin Gray cut version. It might be digital, but they don't care. The law of diminishing returns for them doesn't make a difference. Despite this being, I forgot to mention, this is cut at 45 RPM, so probably going to have a little more bass, a little more extension, a little more detail, but is it worth $100 to you? I don't know. I will say I had an original of this once, an original from the 90s, and I would just gosh darn guarantee it was cut from digital. I mean, it sounded amazing. You know, it's a pretty dynamic record for being a pop rock, whatever, pop punk record, but you know, is it an audiophile record? I don't know. I mean, that's, you know, that depends on your definition. So, yeah, it's kind of like that's where we're at right now. We're making these ultra limited pressings. Now, granted, this was 3,000, but you know, you talk about some of the UHQRs, which are 10, 20,000. It's like there's not enough people that are willing to buy these, so it kind of ruins the demand of them. So that's one part of it, the collectability part. Another part I would say is like the sound. You know, a lot of times I think what you're going to be paying for on these is if you love the packaging, like I said, you love this silk presentation where it slides out and everything. Or, you know, are you just about the sound quality? And I will tell you, I do actually have, what did I do with it? Here it is. Yeah, here's an original Hot Buttered Soul on the Enterprise label. You can see that dude. Check out the label. Boom. I will say I shot these out. This is the one step, and this is the original 1969 pressing. And honestly, I like this one better. And I think it comes down to that this was cut from fresh tapes, and this is cut from 60 or 55-year-old tapes. You know, that's kind of what it comes down to. Now, when we're comparing these audiophile pressings to like original pressings, what we might say, you know, these are pressed on whatever Neotech, or they're pressed on Super Vinyl, or they're pressed on Clarity Vinyl. Okay, so if the original was maybe pressed during the 70s, the oil embargo, maybe it's kind of sketchy as far as the vinyl quality. I can see where you're going to want the audiophile version where the, you know, the noise floor is lower on those. And by all means, you know, I'm not against that, but honestly, I mean, you can go pick up a near mint original of this for like, I don't know, probably $75 for a near mint one. I mean, I know that sounds like a lot, but you know, this was 100, and you're getting something that's actually, I mean, how many near mint copies of this do you think are running around? Not very many. I would venture to guess there's less near mint copies of this running around than there are copies of this. So if you're worried about collectability, man, originals are kind of like where it's at if you can find a near mint original. And I know not everybody has a record store or trust Discog sellers or, you know, whatever reseller that you want to use. So when it comes down to sound quality, you have to say, well, the ones cut, unless they were just like recorded poorly, which once again, audiophile labels are not going to reissue anything that wasn't recorded and sounded good to begin with. I mean, they're not polishing turds, so to speak. They're taking things that already sound good. So a lot of these already sound good. Try to find a near mint original, I would say, if you can. But if you don't want to, or you're like, man, this near mint original I have, or I've heard they're just too noisy, then I'd say that's when you're like, okay, cool, let's grab this one step of Miles Davis Quintet Relaxin', or Hot Buttered Soul, or, you know, even something like the Green Day, the Dookie from Because Sound Matters. Great sounding record, by the way. If you don't have it, get it. And this is, once again, this is going to be much cheaper than an original. So this is kind of a different ball game, because this was recorded in what, like 94, right? Something like that. So, I mean, let's look on here. It even says, I don't think it does, but it was recorded to tape. Whether that original was actually cut from tape, that's another matter. But I mean, yeah, you're probably going to pay for less for this than you are like a near mint original, because they are so rare. One of the reasons being there's a shot of the crowd on the back of the jacket, and there's somebody who has, I believe it's an Ernie puppet, right, on the back. And Sesame Street, Jim Henson or whatever came and said, hey man, get that off of there. So those originals, that's part of their collectability as well, having that Ernie on the back cover, believe it or not. I mean, it's just sometimes it's some of those weird things. So I would say my verdict, and what I would say to you is, once again, if you can find a near mint original, get it, man. I mean, it's gonna come from fresher tapes. It's gonna sound better. It's gonna hold its value better. But if you like, I have a near mint original, or maybe I want to compare them, then by all means, man, take the swing. Get one of these $125 versions. So this is the part of the video where I tell you I am still buying and consigning quality record collections. I'm looking for near mint originals. I'm looking for DCC. I'm looking for classic records. I'm looking for old school mobile fidelity. So if you want to get started making money, you're like, man, it's time to cash out. I'm spring cleaning. Maybe I inherited a collection, man. Just hit me up at HiFidelityRecords.com and we'll get started making you some money. Appreciate you guys watching. If you like my content, you like what you see, man, hit that subscribe button, give me a like, or if you don't, give me a thumbs down. Either way, man, interact, and I just appreciate you guys watching. Until next time, we'll see you then. Peace.